Whatever reason Joel gave those people to do what they did, he didn't deserve that. So what do you want to do?
Ellie and Dina are in the process of trying to track down the people responsible for Joel's death. And so, in a way, this episode is about the beginnings of Ellie's revenge quest.
Keep going.
There is this new kind of infected person. The difference is that they simply seem smarter. They encounter...
What the fuck is that?
One of them. Wait, 3 of them. Wait, like 11 of them. Which means death.
The stalkers, they do a lot of movement training, and they get a lot of real-time feedback about how they should move and what parts of their body they should move. And that's really cool to see.
The stalker sequence I love doing, just because, again, a lot of moving parts. The dance of it with the performers and the stunt team is kind of the exciting part.
Here we wanted to put the characters in a situation. There was no way for them to get out. They've bitten off more than they could chew. And now this might be the end for them.
It's not a question of whether or not we survive. We won't. It's a question of, will one of us survive? And this is where we see the roles shift. Dina has been the one who's been taking care of Ellie, making sure that they do things smartly. But in this situation, Ellie, who is more violent and who is more effective in that way, and who can't be infected, torn apart but not infected, says, got it. Here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna hide, and I'm gonna die for you.
Go!
And as it turns out, there is somebody that emerges from the shadows who, for a moment there, in her confusion and pain, looks a whole lot like Joel. And it turns out it's Jesse.
He's pissed off, but he's also very relieved and happy that he got there right in the nick of time. But there's a lot of frustration involved in that, because that whole thing could have been prevented.
Do I look like I want to fucking talk to you right now?
The embarrassment and the failure of, I couldn't protect Dina like you did. There's a real tension between them. Jesse and Ellie had a really good broship, and it just becomes complicated with Dina because he's kind of still in love with her. Ellie is aware of their past, but Dina's in love with Ellie and Ellie's in love with Dina. It's just this weird triangle. They threaten each other's masculinity and each other's protector instinct.
You know what we're doing pretty fucking good at?
Up until what?
Till we weren't.
The Seraphite Park was filmed at Stanley Park. It's sort of a pinnacle of Vancouver. Part of the initial goal of the show was to find some really interesting spaces that had some texture, some scale. This idea of overgrowth in an urban setting.
They have these huge trees that are wider than my arm's width, and it felt like a fairy tale environment. And then you have the Seraphites. They look terrifying.
They are kind of luditic, meaning they reject most of the trappings of technology, are kind of cult-like in a way.
What happens when the Seraphites run into the WLF and the Seraphites win? We got to see that on the TV station with all the bodies that have been hanged and disemboweled. And now we see what is that ritual like. It's creepy when people celebrate violence, and that's exactly what we see the Seraphites doing.
How are you free?
What we're doing for our main characters is we're showing them, here's what's at stake if these people catch you now.
Fuck!
Dina gets shot with an arrow. They have to split up and go their separate ways. And Ellie doesn't know what happened to them. She doesn't know if Dina is safe. And she sees this hospital, and the obsessive part of her brain turns on. Nora, I gotta get to the hospital and get to her.